What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading. Today, we're going to take a look at why Bitcoin is likely to break out this week and why we could see the same thing for altcoins next week. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. Before we get started, do keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's just my personal analysis of the crypto market. Your analysis can be different, and if it is, that's awesome, because the more difference of opinion that we have, the better traders and the better investors we're all going to become. So first things first, guys, the catalyst for why Bitcoin is likely to break higher this week, I believe, is related to the tariff deadline here, which of course is July 9th. Maybe there'll be some news coming out July 10th. Who knows? I'm sure that a lot of you have heard a lot of stuff circulating on social media and in the mainstream media after Scott Bessent did an interview on CNN late last night, yesterday. He basically said that in the next 3 days, there's going to be a bunch of basically letters issued or final tariff levels announced, essentially. And that these tariffs will go into effect on August 1st. So again, does that count as a delay? Sure, you can, feel free to let me know in the comments as to what you think. But the point is that we will be getting all these announcements still over the next 3 days. A lot of people misunderstand this as meaning that this means there's going to be no tariff announcements until August 1st. I don't think that's accurate. I think that based on Scott Bessent's interview, he confirmed that yes, there's still going to be announcements over the next few days. A lot of stuff will come out on July 9th. We're not, technically they're not moving back the deadline, but they are let's say imposing the start date of the tariffs will be August 1st, which logically is intended to kind of give countries some time to rethink their decisions, let's say, before they actually come into force, if that makes any sense. And again, feel free to let me know in the comments if you think that's kind of like a cop-out. But regardless, I still think that there's going to be enough announcements coming out around tariffs that could cause crypto to pump. And you might be wondering, okay, exactly why? There's multiple different ways that we could look at this. The first way is that you could make the argument that crypto is completely uncorrelated to tariffs. If we see Bitcoin holding up better than expected, you could see that narrative coming out that Bitcoin, you can't tariff Bitcoin, so therefore it's going to keep going up and stocks will start going down. As a fun fact, we actually saw early signs of this back in April. Of course, it didn't last that long, but if you actually go back in time and look at Bitcoin's price, it was actually extremely resilient. As stocks were going down, Bitcoin is actually holding up pretty well. So we could see a similar thing happen this time. Of course, the reason why Bitcoin was holding up so well back then was because of these Bitcoin treasury companies buying BTC hand over fist during the dip. So we could see something similar this time where, especially now that there's even less supply of Bitcoin available for sale, you could see Bitcoin's price staying steady or even rallying as the tariffs are finalized while stocks go down. And then the narrative will come out and say, everyone get into crypto because it's, can't be tariffed and whatever. So and again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's just one possible way I could see it going. The other way I think is more likely and the more kind of straightforward path, and that's that markets will finally have some kind of certainty around what the tariffs are going to be and of course, it's not complete certainty because of the August 1st deadline. Hopefully, in theory, it'll be enough to increase the certainty among investors so that even for stocks, maybe stocks will see a little bit of a pullback, but then they'll continue heading higher after they understand, okay, this is finally what it's going to be, and we promise that we're not going to be extending or whatever, whether they believe them or not, who knows. But the point being is that the tariffs, in some manner, I believe, will be the catalyst that takes Bitcoin higher this week. And of course, if we look at the Bitcoin chart here, we can see we're looking at Bitcoin here on the daily. It looks like it's about to break out above this out of this, you could say, range that it's been trading in for basically close to 2 months now. And you could make the argument that what we've seen here is maybe some kind of cup and handle pattern that would take Bitcoin's price up to 120,000 in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? You can see it's really been battling with this line. It got rejected last week. I thought that it was already breaking out. Of course, it got a little bit of rejection, but now it's retesting that level again, trying to break out above that level. Looks like it could do that in the next couple of days here. Of course, we will have to wait for confirmation there before getting too excited, but it is looking really good. And if we look at the total crypto market cap, we see the exact same thing. Again, we're just looking at total on the daily here. You can see that it's literally on the brink of a breakout. Got a little bit of a rejection late last week, but rallied back up to that level over the weekend and now looking to break above both. And of course, most of the total crypto market cap, of course, a lot of that is coming from Bitcoin. But I would say that, looking at the total crypto market cap, you could say gives us a more holistic view, let's say, of what's going on in the crypto market more broadly. And if we do see a breakout above this level, again, that could happen in the next couple of days, likely led by Bitcoin, then I think that would bode well for the crypto market as a whole. And again, I do think that altcoins would follow that eventually, and I'll touch on the catalyst that could cause that in just a second. First, I need to show you guys the Coin Bureau deals page here. We have a 20% trading fee discount and up to $600 of bonuses on Binance. That's the biggest deal that you can get. It's available exclusively through the Coin Bureau. Signing up takes 2 seconds. Check out the link in the comments or in the description. It'll take you to a page that looks like this. Just enter your email or phone number. It's super, super quick to sign up. If you can't use Binance for whatever reason, then do check out the other exchange deals we have. We have some exchanges that are available to US users and exchanges that are available to users who might have trouble accessing Binance for whatever reason. And of course, we even have like crypto wallets and trading bots and a whole bunch of other stuff down in the description in the deals page. So do check that out and take advantage of these deals before they run out. Again, link is down in the description. Anyways, now guys, moving to onto altcoins, specifically looking at the others chart here. Some of you guys might remember that I've been highlighting the fact that others is kind of squeezing in the same way that it did late last year in October, just before it saw a massive, basically 2-month melt up going into November and December. I think we're about to see the exact same thing happen here. Of course, there's no confirmation there yet, but it's looking very close, getting a squeeze. And of course, when you get this Bollinger Band squeeze, then there's basically tells you that there's going to be a huge volatility either to the upside or to the downside. And unless you believe the crypto bull market is over, which many people do believe that, they think it's over, it's over, it's over. And if they think that, then of course they would be biased and think that altcoins are now going to completely collapse once and for all. But I'm not so sure. I think that it's quite clear that altcoins have been holding this long-term support line, and they're going to bounce from that line once again, rally up to this upper, let's say, resistance line that it's resistance level of this range it's been trading in for basically 2 years, and then eventually get above that and continue powering higher. But of course, we'll have to take things one step at a time. First step is getting above the Bollinger Band moving average on the weekly. If we zoom in to the daily, you'll actually see that the others, which again is all the market cap of all altcoins outside of the top 10, so like a good proxy, let's say, for small caps, not the best proxy, but good enough to get a sense of finger in the wind of what's going on. We can see that similarly last week we saw a basically break above the Bollinger Band moving average on the daily, a retest of that level. Now we've bounced from that level, and it looks like it's going to continue squeezing higher even here on the daily. And again, zooming out once again to the weekly, like this is looking really good in my view. Like we're getting a nice little squeeze, foreshadowing some imminent upside. And again, like if Bitcoin is going to break to the upside, if it looks like the total crypto market cap is going to break to the upside, then I don't see why altcoins would break to the downside. That wouldn't make any logical sense, especially in the context of total, unless you really believe that altcoins are going to zero and that Bitcoin is going to go to like 300,000 or whatever, which a lot of people believe that. But of course, at this stage, I'm sure you're wondering, okay, well then what is the reason why altcoins would squeeze to the upside here in the next couple of weeks? And the answer is something that I mentioned over the weekend, and that's basically all these like altcoin catalysts that we have coming up. In case you guys missed the news, Republicans in the House declared that there's going to be crypto week on the week of July 14th. So not this week, but next week. They're going to consider a bunch of crypto bills, the most important of which is the Genius Act for stablecoins. When that gets passed, which I think there's a very high chance that it will, then that will kind of open the door to the SEC creating this temporary exemptive relief framework. I think they're waiting for stablecoin regulations to get passed first before they do that. So then, stablecoin regulations are in place. The SEC then comes in and says, you can do whatever you want. It's basically in crypto, everything is completely legal, tokenized real world assets, whatever. And then combined with, stablecoins, again, they're like the lifeblood basically of what happens on chain in crypto. So you kind of need clarity, at least on that front. And then the SEC can come in and basically say, yep, everything else is fair game. And then you're just going to see, I think crazy announcements similar to like what we saw with tokenized stocks launching on Solana. I think we're going to see dozens and dozens and dozens of announcements like that. And it's not just going to be, oh, it's from Solana and some random, some backed finance or whatever, like some company that no one's ever heard of. You're going to hear like Bank of America or JP Morgan launching stablecoin on Ethereum, stuff like that, right? That's what's going to happen after the SEC's exemptive relief framework. Especially if you've been paying attention, you'll know these mega banks, they've been kind of hinting that they're going to be doing this for a few months now. And everyone's going to act surprised and oh my God. And if you combine that, again, going back to the beginning with this whole narrative around, tariffs potentially holding down stocks, but then you have like, oh, wait a minute, stocks are being affected by tariffs, but all these cryptos, they can't be tariffed, and they're basically like tech stocks without the tariffs, right? I'm not saying that, again, like I'm not saying that's going to be the narrative, but it's very easy to see how that could happen, right? That first you see Bitcoin rallying, and the narrative there is like, oh, like Bitcoin is, rallying on the, I don't know, like geopolitical, whatever, rallying because of the tariffs, it can't be tariffed. And then you start to see these mega banks saying, okay, well, if we can't have some, or even like some AI company, right? I'm just rambling here, but even some AI company, it's like, oh, like you're going to do tariffs on my chips. Well, then I'm just going to partner with this decentralized AI network, which can use these AI chips all around the world. And then now, I've basically circumvented the tariffs, right? Like stuff like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen again 100%, but this is the type of stuff that I expect to get in the next couple of weeks. And again, just to summarize, I think that stuff related to tariffs, that's probably going to cause Bitcoin to break out this week. I think that's going to correspond to a breakout in the total crypto market cap. That breakout in the total crypto market cap, like to see altcoins just go down when everything else is going up, I don't think that makes any sense. It's very simple and everyone knows this, but they seem to forget it. Like, so long as Bitcoin is going up, then eventually altcoins will follow. When exactly that will happen, that's certainly up for debate. I personally believe it's going to happen in Q3, and I do believe that that rally is going to start as soon as next week when we start to finally get some, let's say, meaningful developments around altcoins that allows for basically more more announcements that will bring more attention to altcoins, which, as I mentioned in my video over the weekend, attention is the only thing that's missing at this stage. Anyways, guys, if you did make it this far and you did find that information helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.